What's going on, people? Well, we are officially in the aftermath of one of the worst seasons that we've ever seen this football club ever have, man. I mean, I'm getting a few things set up here before I get started. Wait for a few people to jump in here. Um, just want to see how everyone's doing, how everyone's feeling after this embarrassment that we saw this entire season. So the embarrassment that we saw this season, bro. Like, let's get into it, bro. I mean, Chelsea lose yesterday, 2-1 to Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. They're officially in the Europa League, and it's great for them because they just got promoted last from the championship this previous season into the Premier League. And it's wild that a team like that finishes ahead of us and a few other teams as well. I mean, we finished level on points, I believe, with Fulham as well. The only reason why we didn't finish 11th is because of goal difference, which is embarrassing. But in this stream today, I'm just going to be going over my season review for this team, man. I mean, if we were to go all the way back to July of last year, and as you can see my overlay, I got the two owners there in clown makeup, and it's just a story of this circus that we call Chelsea Football Club. The circus is ran by clowns, and this is exactly who is running the show right now at the club. People want to speak about a glimmer of hope that a new manager has, bringing the optimism back into the fan base. I don't think any fan is feeling optimistic about next season at all. I'm definitely not feeling optimistic unless certain players leave and unless the model changes, which we all know probably won't happen. And I have this thing on my screen. Just drop your season grade below, telling me what would you grade this entire season from start to finish, right? Not based off the second half of the season, not like, just give me your honest full grade of the season that this club had with the expectations of pushing on after winning the Conference League and the Club World Cup. You're supposed to go out there and go get established players into the squad that is going to actually make the team better and actually bring Chelsea back to the glory days it had over the past 20 years. Not since its ownership has taken over, but since before that. And a lot of people grew up, at least in my generation, because I'm 32, at least in my generation, all I've seen this club do is win. When silverware, being the Champions League, attracts some of the best players in the world, have great players in the squad. And since this ownership has taken over, we have seen anything but good recruitment, winning. And it's just a consistency of disappointment rather than seeing consistency of winning trophies, winning silverware, and all that. So if we were to go back to the start of this season, right? Expectations were probably at an all-time high with this ownership group. My preseason pick for them was I thought they could finish second, given that you win the Club World Cup, you can go get players in, you have a manager in place that seems to be having the players play for him. And you start well, you win 3 of your first 4 games, you draw to Crystal Palace, then you pick up some results early on in the season. You have a weird patch in October or September, October. And after you beat Liverpool, right, at the bridge, the way that it was done, Moises Caicedo scores, and then Cody Gakpo scores to make it 1-1. Then you're thinking, oh, shit, well, it's just another case of dropping more points at home. Esteval pops up and scores the game winner, and you're thinking at that point, this Chelsea team might actually be going somewhere. And then they go on a good run. They go to Spurs, beat Spurs. They beat teams at the Bridge. They lose to Brighton 3-1 at the Bridge, which Brighton just seems to be our kryptonite right now. And so do a lot of other teams, man. I mean, when we play teams that we're not supposed to be, when we play teams that aren't supposed to beat us, we end up capitulating. How many teams did the double over us this season? Manchester United, Brighton, Sunderland did the double on us, bro. Arsenal did the double. Liverpool didn't, which is great, I guess. I mean, if you want to take some type of moral victory out of that, you can do that. But when you're playing against teams that you're supposed to be picking up points at the Bridge at, you should be. I mean, I saw it yesterday that Chelsea just needed 6 points in their final 9 games in order to get into Europe. They only managed to pick up 4 points, which is embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. You beat Aston Villa in the way you beat Aston Villa. Joao Pedro scores a hat-trick that I predicted the day before the game happened. Go check out that video. But since that point, Chelsea only managed to pick up 4 points in their final 9 games, which is absolutely diabolical. You know, we can get into the Enzo Maresca, why he left, why it went south, and why this team started going south. And in my opinion, like, the team went south because of the change in management, right? They didn't believe in Liam Rosenior, like, who did, right? And then on top of that, you lose key players to injury. Cole Palmer is not himself, clearly. He scores yesterday, but I'm even saying at the TV yesterday, it's about time you fucking score. But it's a little bit too late. I'm looking at a watch I'm not even looking at right now. Clown Lake, Joe Shields' fixation with Man City teens in Connecticut has killed Chelsea. They did, bro. What's up, Morrison? How you doing, bro? Like, it's just a disgrace, bro. I mean, how would you grade this entire season, bro? I mean, I put a poll up on my channel. I said A, B, C, or F plus 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 plus. For me, it's F plus 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 plus, bro. It's been horrible. It was horrible. The first half of the season, you could probably give this team a B, maybe a B plus. But after that, you nosedive into the depths of hell. The worst run of form that I've ever seen this club have, especially with some of the quality that you do have in this squad, bro. Liam Piarosini, oh my God, what a boring specimen of a manager. I mean, you got to respect the ball, bro. You got to respect the ball, right? Like, that's the status of this season, bro. Respect the ball. That's the main motto, right? So you get into the month of February. It is go to hell. Yeah. I mean, you get into the month of February after the game against West Ham, where they didn't even play well in that game. They had to have a magical second half performance to get back into that game. Enzo scores the game winner. And then you're thinking, okay, maybe they're going to turn a new leaf the way that they came back, the emotion, all that stuff, right? It went south from that moment. You drop points to Leeds. You drop points to Burnley. And even before the West Ham game, you're dropping points to Bournemouth. You lose to Aston Villa, right? And it's shameful. You lose to Fulham away. It's shameful, bro. It's a disgusting performance. It's disgusting performances left, right, and center from this squad. Cole Palmer, like I've been saying, bro, the man is still in the United States trying to figure out how to get back to London right now. I don't care that he scored yesterday. It's great that he did score, but it's too little too late for that, man. Now you missed out on the World Cup like I've been predicting, right? You played yourself essentially out of that World Cup squad. And now you're looking at a situation where probably our most important player in the team is going to end up leaving because, for one, the ownership is pushing him out, There's no respect for the player. For whatever he did during the international break, bro, I didn't find an issue with anything that he did. He was speaking the truth about what was going on. Me and you have a difference of opinion, Morrison, on Enzo Maresca, and that's fine. But he wasn't lying about how he felt about it, for one. Two, I didn't find an issue with him saying he wants to live in Madrid. I didn't really find an issue with that. He's not saying he wants to publicly go play for them, but it's not a good look if you're looking at it from the other side of things. Like, well, there's only one team in Madrid that you really want to go play for, and it's not Atleti, right? So it's not a good look on him. But at the same time, when you're as consistent as you are this entire season, he's had some bad performances. Every single player has had a bad performance this season, honestly. But for him specifically, he was one of the most consistent players in the squad. And now you're looking at a situation where he's going to probably end up going to either Manchester City, which I would find to be an absolute slap in the face to the football club in general, and even to the fan base. I'd rather see him in Madrid or just go to PSG. I don't want to see him go to Man City. Do you know how annoying that would actually be? Pep Guardiola is gone now. Enzo Maresca is set to go take over. He's going to do everything he can to pluck him out of there and insert him there. I'm saying if you want to get him off of our hands, you got to pay north of 120 million, brother. You really, really do. I'm not going to sit here and allow him to go on the cheap. But if you sell him to Real Madrid, the market price for Enzo right now is about 80 million. Maresca is to be blamed. Yes, he did. He did. The down tools board did not help themselves. Hiring kids to do a grown ass man's job. Board or senior Callum. Yeah, exactly, bro. The board, Callum McFarland, and I don't even understand why he was even in the job in the first place. The first time around and even the second time around. Like, why was he even there? It's clear, like, the dude doesn't even have a coaching pro license, dude. And he's over here trying to coach a supposed Big Six club and try to save their season and get them into Europe. That was never going to be a successful appointment. And even for Lemar Senior, you get him from Strasbourg. And even then, the fans at Strasbourg were even saying, like, he's not a good manager, bro. He really, really isn't. You guys are fucking yourself if you guys go get him. And what happened? He went unbeaten in his first 6 Premier League games. Sure, there's always a new manager bounce somewhere, unless you're talking about Tottenham that had Igor Tudor, and they just continue to nosedive. Liam Senior had no right being the coach, not the manager, the coach at Chelsea football. He had no right, bro. No right. You know, Enzo Maresca is to blame for a little bit of what happened, right? The way that he walked out, the way that, you know, he was, in my opinion, bro, my problem with him was the way that he walked out and the way that he left, right? You could have waited till the end of the season realistically and then say, you know what, I'm done with this shit, bro. Like, I can't deal with it anymore. But he had enough then, wasn't getting the support from the board. And the board has never helped out any of these managers. And people are still hoping that the board is going to allow Alonso to pick certain players and bring him into this squad. I don't know what people are thinking, right? I don't know what people are thinking on that. Until we see, and it's like I've always said, bro, until I see players put pen to paper on the contract and holding up that jersey, established players, I'm not going to believe anything. Absolutely nothing. Because there's nothing to even believe in right now. The only reason why I picked Chelsea to finish second this season was because of the summer they had. Not in terms of the transfer window, but in terms of the identity they had and the way that they were playing. But when you systematically, as the board, destroyed the season and bring in a PE coach as the head coach or the manager of this club, bro, it was always going to go south. And they're lucky that they picked up a result against Spurs. They're lucky that they picked up a result somewhere else in the season against Liverpool. But I can make the argument you have no hope for the board. Xabi is their next. I mean, yeah, if Xabi Alonso fails, no one is going to blame Alonso, bro. Nobody should be blaming him. And I keep on seeing people blaming managers and stuff. Why are we blaming the managers in this situation for anything? Like, that's my thing. A fish, like I always said, the fish rots from the head down. You need to look up top. You can go to any business establishment. The buck stops with the ownership and the people running the show. And if the people running the show are incompetent, look at the rest of it. It'll start to trickle down. I have no hope for I have no hope for them either. I mean, realistically, we should be going after players that can actually change the fortunes of the squad. But this board has shown us nothing, man, to give us hope that they're gonna go get players like Victor Ocean, like Keenan Yildiz, right? Like Bastoni. And I had people come into this chat yesterday, bro, and drop names in here talking about these are the players that need to be coming into the club to make it better. And I agreed with them, but are we gonna actually go do that? No, because you can sell Enzo Fernandez for 80 to 100 million, bro. You can sell Mark Cucurella, Wesley Fofana. You can sell players like Malo Gusto, Pedro Neto. You can get an excess of about 250 million, right? But you're not gonna be able to do anything with that money because what this board has shown us, all they care about is bringing young talent. Chelsea is turning into a player factory, bro. CFC LDN is a player factory. Chelsea Football Club is a club that wins silverware and is continuously challenging for the major titles. Outside of that, this ownership doesn't care about winning trophies. If they get it, cool, sure, it's extra money. But they want to make money. You make more money by winning silverware. I think that's the part that they're honestly missing. It doesn't matter if you're getting into the Champions League year in, year out, but they've been here for 4 years. We have them for 4 years, bro. And you make the Champions League once. How's Aston Villa qualifying for the Champions League 2 times in 4 years while this ownership is at Chelsea? I don't understand it. The most frustrating part is the gleam of the project is all lost. We have run out of money to sign top players. Not that we will actually aim them, but the best center backs we are getting are Senesi and Lacroix. I mean, yeah, right. If you were running the show, bro, right? What center halves are you realistically going for? I'm going for a Bastoni for sure. I'm absolutely going for him. If I'm running the club, one of the first names I'm looking at across Europe, go get me Bastoni from Inter Milan immediately. Put him next to Levi Colwell. Then who's your right center half, right? I wouldn't mind going to go get a Senesi, a LaCroix, right? I wouldn't mind doing that if you go get Bastoni as that left-sided center half. So this club doesn't seem one bit attractive. Yeah, it doesn't. With no European football and people watching from the outside, seeing how the club is being ran, no serious player is going to come here, bro. And that's why I think that we're fucked. We're absolutely fucked. Eunice has said it. Multiple other people have said it. And I saw Nini's video yesterday about the Kylian Mbappe rumors, bro. It's like, now, if you guys actually go watch that video, I saw people on Twitter yesterday like clowning on him. It's like, go watch the entire video before you start talking shit about him actually talking about that rumor. But Kylian Mbappe is coming nowhere near this club, bro. You're gonna have to basically sell half the club to even get him into the club. He's on 600 grand a week. He has 80% of his imaging rights, bro. You're not doing that plus a transfer fee. The only way that you're going to actually get a deal like that done is if he takes a pay cut, you sell Enzo Fernandez and you drop in 120 million, bro. That's the only way. But that's not happening. I know that. I know better. I mean, I would scream if I saw a here we go from about Kylian Mbappe to Chelsea, but that's not happening, bro. That'll never happen. Why? Because we're not a serious club, bro. We will never be a serious club. Nico Schlotterbeck for me and Bastoni is Barca bound. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, do they even have the money to get a Bastoni? I don't know, right? Nico Schlotterbeck would honestly be a pretty shrewd signing. I ain't gonna lie. But there's a few things here though I do want to touch on before I get back into my review of this season. Now, Reece James has spoke about the horrific horrific season that we had, right? Let me go ahead and pull it up real quick. Also, bro, I do enjoy the engagement. I really appreciate all your comments, bro. You know what you're talking about. Yeah, Killian, I won't even dream about. We are galaxies apart. We're not even in the same stratosphere, bro. Like, we're not even in the same stratosphere as his brother, right? So right here, Reece James speaks. We need to digest this season. It's been far below our standards, and we need to review and see where we can improve for next time. Just saying, it not qualifying for Europe doesn't sound right. And we are a club that has won a number of European trophies, and this season we haven't even qualified. So we have lots to learn and improve. Another thing he said, right? Where Chelsea have always been competing and winning titles in Europe, they are the basics, the minimum for this club. The bare minimum is competing for titles, bro. It's competing for like titles, man. Wayne Rooney also speaks on, saying that we'll be a real threat next season because we missed out on Europe. Come on, man. Not if we don't recruit right. I think there'll be a real threat next season. Obviously, having one game a week, and then with Alonso coming in, I think it's exciting for the Premier League because I think he's got the potential to be a top manager. He does have the potential to be a top manager. It wasn't his fault that he left Real Madrid. It's the player's fault. It gives him a period of time to feel his way into the club and get his ideas across. So I think it'll be a benefit. Now playing in Europe, I think would have been a detriment to this team. But at the same time, guys, qualifying for the Champions League was the bare minimum for this season. It really, really, really was. The fact that now they're not even close to doing that next season is major cause for concern. And it's been that way. I think the problem that we're going to be facing next season is I don't think the recruitment is going to be any different. And we're going to be a mid-table team next season. And I've been saying this for the better part now of 2-3 months. Chelsea have a chance to be in a relegation battle next season, especially if you're selling players like Enzo and if Joao Pedro does eventually leave. I think we're in a relegation battle, bro, next season. If the recruitment isn't right, relegation battle bound will be in the exact same position as Tottenham this season. And Spurs survived by the skin of their teeth yesterday. This club fired Carlo Ancelotti, finishing second. That too in the tunnel. As much that was a bad decision looking back. However, those harsh decisions set the bar for every. Yeah, Roman Abramovich, bro, set the standards at this club, right? Summer window, CFC LDN 26. Yeah. Roman Abramovich set the standards. You weren't picking up results, bro. It doesn't matter if you were second in the Premier League. He wanted to win. He wasn't afraid to do it because he had the expectation of Chelsea need to be competing and winning silverware and always be in the Champions League. If Roman Abramovich was the owner still, you would have seen a top gaffer on the sidelines. You would have had a Luis Enrique there already. You would have. Omega, Moreira, Barco, and Lacroix. I think the last one that you mentioned, bro, isn't necessarily a bad signing if we get them. But the first three, they're so unknown, dude. Particularly like the first two. People are really hyping up Barco, and I don't understand why. You're doing it in the French league. And people really think he's going to be that Enzo Fernandez replacement. You guys are smoking some crack if you believe that. Like, you really, really are. I don't understand why people are really hyping this brother up. Now, I'm excited to see what he can do. I'm always willing to give a player a chance when he comes to the club because it's not their fault that they're being signed by these owners, bro. It's not their fault. But if he hits like the ground running, then cool, fine. We have a good young player there, but you need to bring experience around that, bro. You wouldn't want to pair him with Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo, right? You wouldn't want to have Caicedo, and I think you mentioned this too, bro. You wouldn't want to have Caicedo play as that number 8 and go get an actual defensive midfielder in there. Could you imagine Caicedo pushing up the pitch a bit more and actually breaking up play in their defensive half and kickstarting counterattacks? That's what Xabi Alonso specializes in, that gegenpress, winning the ball high up the pitch and kickstarting counterattacks immediately. Caicedo would be the perfect number 8 to do something like that. But is this ownership going to go get a solid defensive midfielder? No. Barco is nice, but he will be UCL or PL challenger in 2 seasons. Not what we needed right now. Yeah. We need established midfield generals in that midfield, bro. And the slander to Enzo Fernandez saying he's weak and all this stuff, bro. He's never been a physical player. He's a finesse midfielder. I compare Enzo to Cesc Fabregas in this respect, right? What made Cesc Fabregas so good at Chelsea? Matic and Conte, 2 midfield destroyers. Matic playing a bit deeper. Conte was allowed to push up the pitch a bit more with Cesc Fabregas, and you saw N'Golo Conte win balls high up the pitch every single time. Every single time. That's what made Cesc Fabregas a success at Chelsea. I compare Enzo to him because I see similarities in their game, the line breaking passes, the vision, the leadership on the field. I saw that. I really, really did. But at the same time, if you're going to have Barco in there, you need to go get another player that can actually protect this brother. Because if he loses the ball in midfield, no one is going to be able to cover. For number 6, there is talk about Chime Andre, and if it is a PR league or any junior player, that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, where's the links to these like established number 6s, bro? Like, we're not gonna get like Rodri or anything like that, right? Or like a Declan Rice, but like, you need to go find somebody that can actually just sit in front of that back line, and his sole job is to just go from sideline to sideline and break up play. That allows our midfield to actually push up the pitch higher and create more numbers in the attacking lines. Like, my ideal midfield, if Enzo stays, is Enzo and Caicedo as the 2 8s. And if you can go get any defensive midfielder and drop who you would honestly go get, bro. You need a strong 6, and on the wings, and I'm giving you my dream like signings here, right? Rafael Leao on the left wing, Joao Pedro, Palmer, and Esteval. That's how my attacking line would be. Honestly. Enzo is a Rolls Royce, a luxury player like Cruz. They're not made for the physical rigors of the Premier League. If you put the right players around him, I think he can work out. I know what you're saying. He is a luxury player, and it's a player like Toni Kroos, but Toni Kroos also had Luka Modric and Casemiro, right? And nobody is saying that Luka Modric is a Rolls Royce luxury player. No, Luka Modric is one of the greatest central midfielders of this generation. So is Toni Kroos, right? But Toni Kroos was a leader on that pitch too. I remember the game against Barcelona where he's telling Vinny Jr., he's literally using his hands, pulling the strings like, go, run, 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 run. He plays the ball in, Vinny crosses it in, and Real Madrid score. Those are the kind of players I want in my midfield. String pullers, elite vision, leadership, zero tolerance for dropping off in a game. Those are the kind of players I want in my midfield. Why? Because the midfield position is the most important position on the pitch, bro. And people keep talking about the attackers need major surgery and the back line. My main concern right now is, what the fuck is this midfield doing? Because we get cut open too easy. If your midfield is solid, your back line will have a little bit less pressure on them. That's why you need to go get an elite number 6 that can sit in front of this back line and allow the 2 8s to do whatever they need to do. But you can't play Palmer, Caicedo, and Enzo in the same midfield 3. You just can't, right? So what would you do? What do you do? Do you switch up the formation and don't have wingers and play in like a diamond midfield, a box midfield? What do you do? Right? That's one of the main positions that I'm looking at this summer. If they actually go out there and go get players that you need to address. I don't want to hear about Barco. I know he's going to be nice. I know he'll be good, but in a couple seasons. But we need somebody right now that can save this club, bro. We really, really do. Like I'm incredibly concerned about our midfield right now, man. Our back line is another issue. A lot of it is just mental mistakes, bro. A lot of it is just not reading the game properly. A lot of it is we need a European center mid, one who understands how to talk to the refs on the field without offending them and orchestrate things on the field, ask people to hold position, make runs, someone like Jorginho. Like how I mentioned, like Tony Cruz in the game against Barca was literally pulling the strings to tell Vinny, bro, go, go, go. Like we need somebody like that, right? Enzo Fernandez is a great passer. He has great vision. But in my opinion, he's not going to be able to really get on these players and tell them what to do because I don't think a lot of the players respect his leadership ability. And like I can understand that. I really, really do. Now, I wasn't the biggest fan of Jorginho when he was at the club. I thought he was too frail. I thought he was weak in midfield, honestly. But the one thing that I will say about him is that his leadership on the pitch was unmatched, honestly. It was unmatched. And we got him from Napoli for a reason when Sarri was here. So you do need somebody like that. I still do not see the sense in selling Jorginho. He could have been such a great mentor to Enzo and Caicedo. Yeah, he would have, honestly. You know, and like looking back at it now, I feel like my criticism of him was a little unjustified. It was mainly because he frustrated the hell out of me every time I watched him because he's a great passer, great leader, but I just thought the physicality of him wasn't he wasn't cut out to play in England. But now looking back at it, we would kill for a player like Jorginho in the squad right now. Absolutely. And Nemanja Matic, right? We would kill for somebody like that in the squad right now because I don't think Caicedo can be playing the 6 too much longer because I feel like he was just fatigued as hell playing as that deep line playmaker, as that midfield destroyer, honestly. Like I feel like he needed some type of help, bro. Because you're just relying on him to destroy every single passage of play, bro. And that's not good enough because he's going to feel the effects of it later on. But I do think losing Enzo Fernandez, bro, is going to be an absolute catastrophic loss. And there's a lot of people saying that, like, all the people on Twitter are saying that, like, we're brain dead over that. I don't believe that. I think you guys are brain dead if you guys are actually thinking that we're going to go get somebody to replace his contributions and what he's done. Also, there are 3 clear groups in our squad in the team. Our French speakers, South Americans, and English kids. We lack unity, and it's pretty evident. Yeah, there's a huge language barrier between a lot of these players, bro. The great thing about Alonso, in my opinion, is that he's able to speak Spanish. He's able to speak English. We don't have any German players in our team, really. At least I can't think of any. I don't know if he speaks French, but the Spanish and the English part, I think is a huge, huge thing for a manager that like. And I was watching the Gary Neville and Valencia thing. I saw this on YouTube. One of his main issues at Valencia was that he didn't speak a lick of Spanish. He had to use the assistant coach to translate it, and you don't have the same emotion when you're using a translator to tell these players that predominantly speak Spanish. You know, I want you to do this on the pitch. I want you to play this way. Xabi Alonso can speak Spanish and speak English, so I don't think the whole language barrier thing will be a problem at when he is there. I just think that if you don't allow him to actually go get players through the door that he needs, we're gonna have a problem. And it won't be his fault because he knows what he signed up for, and he's seen it from the outside. The issue at Real Madrid for him, it wasn't the board and it wasn't the fans, it was the players. I believe at Chelsea, the issue is the board and a few of the players. Sure, a lot of these players do need to go, bro. A lot of these players absolutely need to leave. Wesley Fofana is one of the number one players on my mind when it comes to you need to get out. I don't care if you're over here saying I have no intention in leaving. Marseille, please come in for a bid and get Fofana. But I don't see, and this is another thing I saw before I jumped on live. For the people that are sitting here sending him racial comments, the fuck is wrong with you guys, bro? I have my own issues with him as a player, but if you guys want to scoot to the racism part of it, man, go get an education on how to treat people, bro. I criticize his performances. I don't ever talk about the skin color at all. Never. So I don't agree with that whatsoever. But if we're criticizing the performances, yeah, he's been one of the worst signings this club has had in the past 25 years, bro. And you can throw that with Liam Delap, Romelu Lukaku, all those players, bro. Raheem Sterling, Aubameyang. You can throw all those players in there. But to go to the racism part of it, bro, I think you guys need to go get some type of education, bro. I really, really do. Selling Enzo would be the final nail in BlueCo's coffin. A failure of management to convince their marquee signing to, bro. And I spoke on this, and I'll get to who I think should leave. I got a list of players, bro. My reflection on Enzo Fernandez's time at Chelsea is a missed opportunity. It's a missed opportunity. You spent 105 million and you can't build a team around him in 4 years. It's a missed opportunity. Now he's about to go enhance his career even more by going to Man City or Real Madrid, bro, or PSG. It's a missed opportunity. Who do you think should leave? Let me go ahead and give you guys a list, and you can tell me if I'm crazy for saying a few of these names, bro. The first one I already mentioned, Wes. He's gone. I got Tosin out. Flip Jorgensen gone. Malo Gusto gone. Mark Cucurella gone. Romeo Lavia gone. Let me see. In my opinion, Andre Santos needs to go out on loan. Let me see. Liam Delap absolutely needs to leave. Garnacho gone. Gittins gone. Abadiashile gone. And this one may be a little controversial. I don't know how people are feeling. Maybe Robert Sanchez too. I think he needs to leave. I think his time is up. And the players that I think that should be brought back, Nico Jackson. Bring back Nicholas Jackson, bro. I don't know if that's crazy to say. I've been saying this for the longest time. Bring back Nico Jackson, dude. Because Liam Delap clearly was not the answer. Now, Nico Jackson didn't get a lot of game time at Bayern Munich, but it's just because Harry Kane is having a Ballon d'Or-esque season, bro. And you're never going to get game time at Bayern Munich. They needed to find a loan move for him for that season to get him off the books. But should you have really sent Nico Jackson on loan? Because he picked up a couple reds at the end of the season. Liam Delap had more yellow cards than goals this season. He had the same amount of assists than in yellow cards, bro. And we paid what, 30 something million for him? The Nico Jackson disrespect, and people owe that man an apology. We could have had a front two of Joao Pedro and Nicholas Jackson. Do you understand how they would have been able to play off each other with Cole Palmer just in behind? That would have fed families, bro. Disassi, I forgot about him too. Yeah, he needs to go too. Fafana, Delap, Gusto, Tosin, Disassi, Badishil, Lavia, Neto, and Garnacho should leave tomorrow. I agree. I agree, bro. like, like you're not wrong, man. I'm trying to tell you. I think Nico and Delap will be sold to for revenue generation. I mean, unfortunately, I do agree that I think Nico Jackson will get sold. But if it was me making that choice, bro, I think Nicholas Jackson does deserve a second chance at the club. He would have been a great option in behind Joao Pedro. You could have even played them in the same lineup if you really wanted to, especially if you didn't want to play with wingers. Unfortunately, then Esteval probably wouldn't have been playing as much, but I don't think he needed to play as much in his first season because now look at him. He has a grade 4 hamstring injury because you relied on him too much at 18 years old. Ran him into the fucking ground. Like you can't do that to a young player like that. Nico was harshly judged. Not having an English passport really hurts these foreign players. Yeah, it does. But I don't even think he was that bad when he was with us. Honestly, I think a lot of people just were frustrated towards the end of last season when he picked up those 2 red cards and you saw all the hate and the slander towards him. And it's like he scored 15 Premier League goals in his first season with no penalties. Then I think last season he scored in the Premier League like 12 or 13 without penalties. The guy was actually, now if he was more clinical, I don't think he would have been put out on loan last season. But you can't tell me that he didn't go to Bayern Munich and learn how to be a little bit more clinical while watching Harry Kane do what he did. I think the combination of Joao Pedro and Nico Jackson this season, if he was here, our attack would have been a little bit more devastating to watch in terms of being more lethal. But Joao Pedro is the guy that can hold the ball up and link up. Nico Jackson can do the same thing, but his pace in behind, it would have been special to watch. And he would have been able to bring out the best in Cole Palmer again. And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand about the Nico Jackson and Cole Palmer partnership. Look at the stats of these two when they're on the pitch at the same time. They had like 74 goals and assists between each other in the 2 seasons that they played with each other. That is exceptional. That's exceptional. In the Premier League, the toughest league in the world, that is exceptional. That's something that you just don't take out of your squad. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, dude. Nicholas Jackson and Joao Pedro would have been in an immense attack. And like, I've been called crazy for even saying that, but it's like, then you guys aren't watching how Joao Pedro plays. You know, I call Joao Pedro a smooth operator. Why do I call him a smooth operator, right? When the ball is at his feet, he plays at his own pace. Nico Jackson is that erratic center forward that can hold the ball up but beat 2 or 3 players, get in behind. Now, he can just be, if he can be a bit more clinical, Nicholas Jackson will be a good European striker. A good European striker. But people want to hate on him because of his poor discipline on the pitch. But at the same time, we signed a guy from Ipswich that wants to be a WWE superstar rather than being a professional footballer, bro. Nicholas Jackson would have easily, in my opinion, had 10 or 11 goals in the Premier League this season. Do you understand how much that would have helped us? I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. I don't think I'm crazy for having that take at all. I think it's a legitimate take to have. And we'll see what happens, bro. I mean, realistically, man, I mean, the situation at the club right now is they don't have the right to sit here and try to sell a Nico Jackson. You need another center forward. You need to sell Liam Delap. Mark Hughes got to go. I don't want to hear about a mega, because I don't think he's going to do anything in the Premier League. I really, really don't. I was really pissed for Nico for forcing the Bayern move again. Maresca talked shit with him, but I feel JP was really brought. Yeah, I feel the same way. That strike partnership would have been able to at least get us 10 to 11 more goals in the Premier League, which would have helped us pick up about 7 or 8 more points, which would have qualified us for the Champions League. Just saying, bro. Just saying. Like, this is what I'm like. Chelsea scored 58 goals and conceded 52. In last season, we conceded, I think, like 37 to 39 goals, which was the third best defensive record in the Premier League. How do you concede 14 more goals and score less? That's because you take out a guy that scored 13 or 14 Premier League goals, and it's not there. Sanchez should have been sold 2 seasons back. Never was Chelsea level. Way too erratic. I mean, he had a good Club World Cup, and he had a good start to the season. When Liam Rosenior came in and benched him, that's when his form dipped again. Right? And if I'm able to pull up the Premier League from last season, right? Let me go ahead and pull this up, bro, because this is the kind of stuff that really frustrates me about this team. And a lot of people don't like talking about Enzo Maresca, and like, I don't blame them, right? Let me go ahead and show you guys the table from last season, and to tell you why our defensive structure is in the bin. For one, Chelsea scored how many goals last season? They scored 64 goals and conceded 43. That was the third best defensive record in the Premier League. We conceded 1 less goal than Man City, 2 more than Liverpool, and 9 more than Arsenal, right? You score 64 goals in the Premier League, right? Then you go to this season. We got to go all the way down. 58 goals and 52. You concede, what, 9 more goals this season and score 11 goals less? Add Nico Jackson into this, Chelsea probably are finishing what? They had 52. Chelsea are probably finishing level on points with Liverpool and probably have a better goal difference. And people really think that Liam Delap was the answer. I'm not saying any Chelsea fan does now, but when he came, he was never going to be on that same level, bro. He can make world-class saves, but he can make world-class howlers too. So I'm not sure if the coaching thing or it's a mentality thing. I think it's a mentality thing, bro. I think it's a mentality thing because it's like you said there, world-class howlers, that's a mental thing. There's nothing that the coach on the sideline or the manager on the sideline can't even do about that. That's just a mental thing. Misplaced passes, not being able to save certain goals, right? And even the goal they conceded yesterday, the first one, right? What you're taught as a goalkeeper is to never be beat near post. And what happens? He has his near post exposed. Now, it wasn't even his fault because Mark Cucurella once again is caught too high up the pitch, and Joao Pedro has 2 players in his area. A simple flick on, and they score. Even without Nico Jackson, we were on track to finish in the UCL spot. Then we hired Liam Rosenior. Yeah, because the team was actually playing well. The team was actually playing very well. Now, they had a sticky part of the season in December, but if you look at the course of history under not even just under BlueCo, but over the past, I would say 7-8 years, bro, Chelsea have played terrible in the month of December. When Frank Lampard in his second season was there, we had a horrific Christmas period going into January. Then Thomas Tuchel came in. And I've been saying this too. Chelsea have had weird results at home for the longest time, bro. For the longest time. Do we like Frank Lampard's first season? I remember losing to West Ham at home 1-0, Southampton at home. I remember those results, bro. We've had weird results at the bridge for the longest time. Stamford Bridge hasn't felt like a fortress in God knows how long. And that's concerning, right? That's very concerning. Chelsea hold the record for the longest unbeaten run at home. I think it's 86 games? That's not by accident. Czech and Courtois saves the first goal yesterday, and I think Mendy saves that. I think Courtois saves that, and I think Petr Cech saves that. Petr Cech absolutely saves that. His positioning was so bad. It was bad. He was more central on the goal, and you expose your near post. One thing you're not supposed to do is leave your near post exposed. That's something you learn at youth level, bro. And I wasn't a goalkeeper. When I played, I was a winger. I was playing out wide, right? If I'm a winger and I see that near post is exposed and the goalkeeper is more central, I'm going near post every time. I was right-footed, but I can use my left foot every now and then. My right, like if I was playing off the left and I saw that near post exposed, I'm going near post because there's no shot the goalkeeper is going to be able, because the goalkeeper is expecting you to go far post. If he's already moving in that direction, a low driven shot on the ground, the goalkeeper's not saving that. He just isn't. It's craziness, man. And that's why I think we need to go into the market and go get a world-class goalkeeper, a better goalkeeper that can actually command his box better. I think the thing that Robert Sanchez did a bit better this season, even though there were still glimpses of his lack of command in the box, was he was more vocal in the box and more commanding in the box. The thing that irks me the most is we are shit during Christmas. However, we shat on our head in February, March, and April. Bro, I was saying that if Chelsea can get to 49 points by the end of February, they have a shot of getting into Europe. They were in a Champions League spot in February, and then everything went downhill. Everything went downhill. They were stuck on 48 points until they went to Anfield and got a draw. They were lucky not to get 3 points. They were unlucky not to get 3 points in that game because Liverpool were poor. They were horrible. Whenever we play them, for some reason, our levels are upped, and we always give them one of the toughest games of the season, whether it's at the Bridge or it's at Anfield. The Atalanta goalkeeper is one we should aim for. Yeah, I mean, look, anybody's better than Robert Sanchez. In my opinion, we should go after a Mike Mignon again, but I don't think that's going to happen. Like Diego Costa at Porto. I mean, if you really want to spend the money and go get him, that's who you should realistically go get. But Mike Mignon would be one on the cheap and for a bargain, but we were stupid enough not to pay the extra $5 million to get him. Right? Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, we're so in the mud in terms of our recruitment. Like every club is going to be asking for a shit ton of money just to get these players out when we have players basically ready to come to the club. Even Victor Osimhen, all you needed to do was just pay him the wages he was looking for, and he would have been at Chelsea this season, bro. Playing in the Champions League. We play the best against Liverpool. The result, though, is a different thing. Never in our favor. It's just because I think the refereeing in this country hates Chelsea, bro. There's always some type of issue whenever we play in any game where refereeing decisions don't go our way. But I'm not going to be the one to say that we need to rely on those kind of decisions in order to get results. The team just has to play well, right? And we've seen anything but that over the past 4 years. Like the past couple seasons before this one, we went on an insane run to get into Europe both seasons. And I keep saying this, last season was one of those seasons where it's like maybe this shit really is turning around with the games they were winning and the way that they were winning. But even then, it's like still scarred by that Reece James, bro. That handball was, I mean, come on, bro. Like, I don't even understand that. To this day, I don't understand that. And even the League Cup against them, where they flagged Lukaku offside, that wasn't offside, bro. That wasn't offside. It's crazy, man. It was never an offside. But I don't want to give praise to that brother too much because he was, if you want to talk about cancers, that was one of the most cancerous players that ever came to the club, honestly. The Mane elbow, yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Lukaku was onside, bro. But they don't want to ever admit it. And if you look at the still shots of that, you can see how on he actually was. They just don't want to give Chelsea any domestic trophies realistically. But again, it's like the team in general, this iteration of the team just needs to be consistent, bro. But how can you be consistent if you're changing managers all the time and the board micromanages everything? You can't be successful. That's the problem. So I also want to show this here real quick.
That's down to Joe Shields and his kinetic sports connections and all these lads that love it.
1 second. I need to see if it's actually being shown. Oh, yeah, 1 second. Let me go ahead and reverse. I like his opinions, honestly. I do think that he's spot on with a lot of the stuff that he says.
Chelsea, overall this season, have been awful. And Callum McFarlane should never have been in the dugout in the first place. He does have the coaching badges to do it. And that's down to Joe Shields and his kinetic sports connections and all these lads that love each other and look after each other. It's jobs for mates at Chelsea Football Club. That needs to change. Xabi Alonso comes in and I hope he gets given the opportunity to make a difference and do what needs to be done. Because I tell you what, if he doesn't get the opportunity and we're getting all the briefs about self-reflection and we're going to go for this player, but we're going to sign someone bang average and all this stuff and garbage and guff that comes out of the PR spouts at Chelsea and it comes out into the papers or it goes to whoever it is, it needs to stop. Chelsea, you need to shut up in the summer, go and get the job done. It is as simple as that. If you're going to go and sign a player, you're going to need to go and do it properly. If Xabi Alonso's come in and that is a statement of intent, follow it up with signings of serious players. I'm talking quality experience. I'm not talking about some 12-year-old from Brazil who's got great potential. I'm not talking about another market opportunity. Go and get somebody who's going to help him do his job and get even better. Because this season, it's been embarrassing. It's been embarrassing. It's probably been worse than the Potter season. And it's just...
It was absolutely worse than the Graham Potter season, bro. This season... It's the second worst Premier League season. It's tied for the second worst Premier League season ever. But this is the worst season overall that we've had. This is the worst season. Especially with what you did last season. You're supposed to push on and go do something.
Overall, just an absolute mess. They cannot say this project has been successful. They can't. They can't give themselves a pat on the back about Xabi Alonso because that's them admitting they were wrong. Go and find a deliverable. Go and get the job done. Change his tact and this absolute rubbish. And that's it. I've had enough of Chelsea this season. The season's done. I'm not even really that bothered about the World Cup. Just bring me Xabi Alonso, get the job done, and let's see what happens with Chelsea next season. And they need to back him properly in the market because that was embarrassing.
Absolutely. And Luis is right, bro. I'll read your comment right now, brother. Do you think Hato should be nurtured as a center half? I think so. But I would want to see him play at left fullback, honestly, because I don't think he's bad there. I really, really don't. I think he's actually very good in that position, bro. This is Control C, Control V of the Potter. Yeah, it's copy and paste, bro. But I think it's worse. I think this season was worse than the Graham Potter season. The reason why I feel like the Graham Potter season was bad was because he had an overinflated squad, bro. And he had players that he didn't even know the names of, bro. Like, he didn't know any of the players. Fire a good coach, interim doesn't do one thing to help. It doesn't. I think, like I said, I think the issue with the Graham Potter season, bro, was, for one, you overpaid certain players to come to this squad. For one. Two, he didn't start off bad. He had a good run to start the season. I think they beat Juve 4-0 in that time period. But even then, it was bad. It was still bad. They sacked him because they knew that this run couldn't go on for much longer. Then you bring in Frank Lampard and to bring back the feel-good vibes, and it got worse. It got worse. Their only win in that time period was the 3-1 win away to Bournemouth. That was it. Even then, like, the Graham Potter season was just a bad season because of the overinflated squad, and you had too many players there that should have never been there. You had players there that were getting paid too much, and injuries also had a huge factor in that season. That's just the truth. This season, you had a good end to the 24-25 season. You win silverware. You're supposed to push on and go do something. The issue with this season was that the ownership got too involved. They sacked Enzo Maresca, which was the wrong move. You should have sacked him at the end of the season if you're planning to get rid of him. Frank Lampard was their paycheck. Chelsea fans will hate. I mean, no. You're right, because other Chelsea fans have said the same thing, dude. Other Chelsea fans have said the same exact thing that you're saying, and you're not going to get hate from me when it comes to that, dude, at all. You're really, really not, because I keep mentioning that I had this podcast going up of how I felt during that season and how the recruitment was absolutely terrible, and it was. Even the last season that Roman Abramovich was there, the recruitment that year was not that summer was not that great, right? But we're not going to blame Roman Abramovich for anything. We're going to be blaming this current ownership for how everything went. I've always said this, and I have a friend that is a Real Madrid fan, and I've told him this. The last time we saw the real Chelsea was when they went to Madrid and were up 3-0 to basically be ahead in that tie because away goals were still a thing. They were up 3-0, and some say that Chelsea are still stuck in the Bernabeu, bro, trying to figure a way out. That was the last time that we saw Chelsea. That was the day that Chelsea died. It was. And looking back at it, I don't think I'm wrong on that. Recruitment was just all over the park. No logic behind the players we signed and we let go. Even looking back at it now, letting go of Christian Pulisic, bro, an American player, right? Christian Pulisic would have been a much better option in this team right now than who we have on the left wing. At least with him, I know exactly what I'm getting. You don't know what you're getting with Garnacho or Gittins. With Christian Pulisic, you're actually getting some type of dynamism on that left wing, a guy that will actually take a risk, right? Garnacho and Gittins didn't take enough risk. Garnacho never had control of his body, bro. He can't dribble. He can't get past players. He can't shoot. He can't finish. I don't care about that Puskás winning goal. That's what ruined his career. That's when his ego really skyrocketed, bro. It's been in the bin, man, for the longest time. And it's sad. But it's like that dude said on Twitter, right? They need to let Alonso bring in the players he needs. Tommy's Chelsea bullied that Real Madrid side. Had it not been for Mendy brain fade, we were on course for a two. Look, if we would have beat Real Madrid in that game, we would have went back to back. And then I don't think that even if Roman's ownership had to sell, I don't think these owners would have had a right to sack Thomas Tuchel. You bring 2 consecutive Champions League titles to Stamford Bridge. You need to immortalize that man and build a statue outside of Stamford Bridge. Jose Mourinho needs one, and Thomas Tuchel needs one as well. Those are the 2 managers, in my opinion, that you build statues for outside of Stamford Bridge. Those are the 2 managers only that you build statues for. In terms of players, Frank Lampard, Drogba, Eden Hazard, John Terry. Those are the players you build statues for. Outside of that, I've said that we were wiping the floor. Now, Karim Benzema went to Stamford Bridge the previous week and put on a masterclass against us. But they were nowhere to be found in Madrid. Luka Modric saved him. Right? That's the day I feel like Chelsea really died. And really, we have not seen this club since. Back in 2022, that's when Chelsea died, bro. Pulisic is so much better than Neto, Garnacho, and Gibson. He is better. And as an American, bro, I'm hoping that Christian Pulisic can show his best form at the World Cup for the United States, because he's been banging it ever since he went to Italy, bro. Ever since he went to AC Milan, bro, he's been playing exceptional. Any player that has left Chelsea under this ownership has actually become a better player, including Timo Werner, bro, which is crazy. People were frustrated with him because he wasn't clinical enough. Karim Benzema and Vinny were twerking for Reece James. They were. Because Reece James was an absolute monster in that game, and he really, really is. If he's fit and playing in the right position, Reece James is one of the best players in the world, bro. He really, really is. He's the best right back in the world for a reason, and he's becoming an exceptional defensive midfielder as well. The ability to play at right back and to play in defensive mid, I think that could be a conversation we could have in terms of who should be playing in defensive midfield. Reece James would be a great option to play there, but I still want to see a more natural defensive midfielder at Chelsea, honestly, because I don't think Caicedo is meant to play as that holding midfield player. I think he's meant to be playing as one of those 2-8s. And I think you were the one that actually mentioned that, bro, which I'm here for. I appreciate that, because after thinking about it, that's exactly what he needs to really be doing, is playing as that not more advanced 8, but the 8 that can go box to box. Kind of like what Enzo was supposed to be doing, but Enzo was pushed up the pitch a bit more and even playing in the 10 at times, which I don't think him playing in the 10 should be his natural position. I just think he should be in that Frank Lampard role where he's the more advanced 8 and can help out in that defensive part of the pitch. There's another thing I saw here. So Nottingham Forest, bro, are trying to use the value of Moises Caicedo transfer from Brighton to Chelsea as the benchmark valuation. Now, is Elliot Anderson really worth 115 million, bro? I think a few factors here. It's the English tax, it's the Premier League tax. And I think it's based off potential is why this number here is being touted. Now, I think Forest are honestly asking a bit too much for him. If you're gonna get Elliot Anderson, I think it's gonna be for a fee just under 100 million, right? Because it's not like Forest are in Europe. So if they were in Europe, I think you can probably ask for a fee, but they're not going to be in Europe at all next season. So I think the possibility of him going for a fee just under 100 million is more feasible than asking for 150 million straight up. Elliot Anderson would be great at Chelsea. He would be great at Man City. He would be great at Liverpool. He would be great at Arsenal. He would be great even at Spurs, bro. But where do I think he's going to realistically go? I think he's going to end up at Manchester City. If Reece James has to play as a midfielder, it should be under an underlapping fullback. Give Hata license to cause havoc in the left wing. You really rate him going forward, huh? I mean, I do. I saw the goal he scored against Charlton. It was fantastic. I think if you were to flip Cucurella and Hato in that game against Liverpool, I think Hato probably scores at least one goal in that game, probably even gets an assist. Realistically, he is a 70 to 85 million player. He is a good player. And I've seen people on Twitter, JNR, right? I've seen that guy twerk for him for the longest time, bro, saying that he's better than Enzo Fernandez. I don't believe that. I think he is a good player that you play alongside of an Enzo and alongside a Caicedo, but I don't think he's better than either of those two players, realistically. But 70 to 85 million sounds about right. Now, our Forest are just going to use that benchmark to see what teams do come in, but I think if Man City do have an offer of 70 million and then maybe you add add-ons of like 10 to 15 million, I think that'll get that deal completed, honestly. Hata can do the Cucurella. Cuckoo cannot do the Cucurella. Love Cuckoo, but he has limitations. I don't think he's a bad player, bro. I don't think Cucurella is a bad player. I just think his head is somewhere else. I think he's already thinking of a move away, and he was thinking about the World Cup. And clearly, he was one of the players most affected by Enzo Maresca leaving. But again, these players are professionals, and you have to have some pride at the end of the day, man. And when you have Antoine Semenyo ripping you a new asshole, bro, that's all that I needed to see. We need a player out there that can have the ability to lock up these right wingers. He can't do the Hato role. I agree. He can't. I think the only game I saw Joao Hato play terrible was the Champions League game against Atalanta. That was the only game I saw him play actually bad, right? But again, he's a young player, but he got better throughout the course of the season. He was the player of the month in April, right? As a young player at that age, you are the young player of the club in that month. That speaks volumes to how he's improved over the entire season, even though Chelsea have been shit. They've been terrible. Just go ahead and take a look at what's been popping up on my timeline real quick. See, and this is what I wish that these owners would actually do. Show some accountability, right? Typical, another private equity firm has completely failed at a huge club, but at least they did one thing: accountability. Pass this on to BlueCo. This is the statement from AC Milan. Redbird Capital Partners. After the disappointment of last year, the mandate ownership set for the club was to return to the Champions League and establish a foundation consistently at the top of Serie A. For a majority of the season, we were in the top two positions with a credible shot of competing for the Scudetto. The final stretch was completely inconsistent with the performance up to that point, with last night's disappointing loss in the final game of turning the season into an unequivocal failure. It is time for a change and a comprehensive recognition of football operations. Effective immediately, we are parting ways with the CEO and the sporting director, head coach, and technical director. We thank each one for their hard work and dedication to AC Milan during their respective tenures. Further announcements regarding these appointments will be made in due course, with the goal to be ready and well prepared for next season. See, that is accountability. That is actually understanding where they went wrong. I cannot blame Cucurella. He's mentally in Spain. Spanish players sooner or later run away and sign for Barca or Real Madrid. I think he's going to Atleti, bro. Honestly. But if you saw what I just read, that is called taking accountability and understanding where they went wrong. If you guys read the PR bullshit from our ownership regarding our season, there's no accountability there. None. They got rid of the technical director, the CEO, the head coach, and what was the other thing they got rid of? The sporting director. They got rid of 4 positions after not qualifying for the Champions League. Why isn't this happening at our club? I'll tell you why. They don't want to take accountability. They don't want to be proven that they're wrong. They think the hiring of Xabi Alonso is going to fix everything. You need to get rid of Joe Shields. You need to get rid of Paul Winstanley. You need to get rid of Lawrence Stewart. The owners need to sell. That's what you need to do. Feliciano needs to leave. Vis needs to leave. Todd Bowley, a guy that honestly I don't really have much of an issue with because you don't really hear from him for much anymore, but he also needs to go as well. All of them need to go. AC Milan took accountability. Their ownership took accountability. And now they're out. AC Milan will probably be a lot better off with them gone. But at least they're going to take their time and look at where they can improve at. Egbali has an ego size of a blue whale. The day he accepts that he and his cohorts as sporting directors are at fault, his role at Clear Lake will be minimized to nothing, something which we cannot afford. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, the fact that we see other ownership groups, dude, take accountability and get rid of the people in there that clearly aren't cutting out. They've killed the women's team structure too, demolished brick by brick. It's sad, bro. I think even Emma Hayes knew. Like, yeah, man, like I need to get out of here before like my career gets absolutely sabotaged. Right? And the women's team, they have good players. They have exceptional players there. One of my favorite players there is what's her name? Alyssa Thompson, bro. That's one of my favorite players there. Because I think she's exceptional. I think she's great, bro. I think she's very, very good. Right? But how much longer is she gonna want to stay there? Right? You've had Sam Kerr is now no longer there. Bright is gone. Right? Like, they're losing cornerstones of that team, mainly because of retirement. But on the other end of things, if I'm thinking cynically here, I think they just weren't trying to be part of the setup anymore on the playing side of it because they know this ownership is trying to just sell off anything to cover their loan debts. But I think the women's team, they lost to Man City in the league. Wrighton should have been retained. There is a death of senior players. Yeah. And Wrighton was great for them, bro. I think Alyssa Thompson is their next great player there, but she needs help. She needs quality around her. Like, I really rate that girl, bro, because I think that she's not only because like she's American, but she shows up in the big moments. She shows up in the big games. A few more results go Chelsea's way on the women's side, they probably win the Super League. And they still can't get their hands on the Champions League. Guro, Sam Curry, and Millie Bright all have left them in the last 12 months. Yeah. Emma Hayes left, what, like 2 seasons ago? Now she's the U.S. Coach now on the women's side. The women's team, man, I don't think it's enough recognition for what they've done. But under this ownership, it's just going to be Thompson needs someone to guide her. She's yeah, bro. She's good, dude. I'm trying to tell people, like, I think she's one of the next great players at that club. Like, she's very, very good. But even then, I mean, if we go back to the men's team is so much more in the gutter than I think like the women's team is. That all the revenue is generally women's sporting technical director resigned this year too. Yeah. I mean, the women's team is just, they're getting picked apart. And I would hate to hear that because I don't watch them as often, but when I do, like, you can tell, like, it's not the same team anymore. The women's teams under Emma Hayes were insane, bro. Insane. Their only kryptonite was the Barcelona team, bro. And they just shredded, who was it? Lyon in the Champions League final 4-0. That Barcelona team is insane, bro. And I hate Barcelona, but the women's team at Barcelona, bro, let me tell you something. They are one of the funnest teams to watch on either gender, bro. They're so fucking good, dude. They really, really are. But there's something else I wanted to see here before I go about my day here. It's almost 11 o'clock out here on the West Coast. Yeah, look at this shit, man. Accountability at its finest. Huge management change at Milan after they failed to qualify for the Champions League. They're in the Europa League, but not Champions League, right? The CEO, gone. The head of scouting, gone. Allegri, gone. Sporting director, gone. This is not what reflection looks like. And look at the BlueCo signings, man. Chelsea's BlueCo signings. Raheem Sterling, I forgot how to play. Koulibaly, passed it. You could have signed him 2 years prior, really, when he was really in his prime. Wesley Fofana, top 10 worst signing of all time. Yes. Mark Cucurella, you can make a debate on whether he was a success or not. Aubameyang passed it at Chelsea. He's playing well at Marseille. Chukwuemeka, not ready. Cassidy, not good enough. He's never getting into the first team. Zakaria, barely played. Enzo Fernandez, a success. Mikhailo Mudryk, cheat and crap. I don't think he was crap, but I think he was getting better when he was actually playing under Enzo Maresca. It's just unfortunate that he has that doping scandal, man. Benoit, Badiashile, terrible. Noni Madueke, average. I agree with that. Malo Gusto, ass. It says pants, but I'm saying ass. Andre Santos, okay. Fofana, Dacha Fofana. We're not Brighton. Exactly. Joao Felix, a luxury player. If we had Joao Felix in this team, I think it would have been decent with him. Moises Caicedo, a success, yes. Romeo Lavia, broken. Nkuku, broken. Cole Palmer, a success. Nico Jackson, I think above average in my opinion. Sassy, not good enough. Look how many names there are, bro. 45 names. Where's Estevao at? Oh, a potential. Kendry Paez, never played. Joao Pedro, a success. 55 million for Jamie Gittins. Mike Penders. Quenda. It's horrific, man. Let's see what you've been saying here, brother. Emma Hayes teams could just change the games at league in seconds. Opposition was never too big for them. Lyon, Barca, and Wolfsburg. Yeah. I just think that Barca team, bro, is just unreal. They're absolutely like unreal, dude. You got Puteas, you got what's her name? Abomanti, who I think is better than her, honestly. I mean, they are exceptional, bro. A Pajor, all like they are exceptional, dude. Anya Bati, I mean, they got some insane players on that squad, bro. And it's like honestly, if I'm speaking about the women's game, the women's World Cup, I don't see anybody beating Spain. I just do not see anybody doing it, bro. I think the women's era in Spain, it's not going to rival what the men's team did, but they're on course to be one of the greatest generation of women's players that we've ever seen. Bro. I just think they're exceptional. And it's like I said, I hate Barcelona, but the women's Barcelona team, bro, they are a joy to watch, bro, because they play the sport the right way. And they have fun while they're doing it as well. But yeah, man, like these list of players are just, it's insane. This is another thing I wanted to show here real quick before I get off, because I'm gonna go spend some time with my family and shit after this. If you can only pick one of them, who would you pick to replace Enzo Fernandez? Bruno Guimaraes, bro. Out of these four players, give me Bruno G. Bruno Guimaraes. That's who I would realistically just go. If you're gonna realistically sell Enzo Fernandez, Bruno G would be the perfect replacement. The perfect guy for it. Now, are Chelsea gonna really go pay 70, 80 million to go grab him and then pay him north of 230K a week? No, not really. But if Xabi Alonso once says, like, I want to go get him because I think he can actually make our team better, I would dare this ownership to tell him no. Because it's not going to happen. But I think Alonso would resign immediately if he's not able to go get players like that. Could you imagine a scenario where he signed for the club and then he never manages it because he's not getting what he wants? It's a possibility. But I don't think it'll happen. I think he's going to really stay on for his first couple of seasons, and then we'll see what he can do. Honestly, I think he knows what he signed up for, and we'll see if he gets any of the players that he wants. But I don't know, man. But let me go ahead and get off of here for the moment. I'm gonna be recording a video in a little bit, going over my full reaction to Chelsea's horrific season and like what I'm expecting in the summer transfer window. Let me read your comment before I get out of here. The last time Chelsea had people accountable was when Lampard was fired and Tuchel was hired. Yeah, that was under Roman Abramovich, right? But it wasn't with this current ownership. This current ownership wants to be like Roman Abramovich so bad, even though they slandered him in the past. They want to be like Roman so bad. You can't hire and sack managers if you don't have the credibility and the cachet to even do it. You haven't proven anything to even do that. And it doesn't matter about the illegal dealings that he did to get players like Eden Hazard through the door, Ramirez, Costa. It doesn't really matter. I fear. Hold on. The fuck's that overlay, bro? Okay. I fear Chelsea. I fear that Alonso will leave Chelsea for Liverpool mid-season. You really think that's going to happen? That would honestly be one of the craziest things that I think that would happen. If he leaves for Liverpool mid-season, I think honestly Arne Slot is in a world of trouble. But I don't think that would happen. I think they would probably go. I don't think it would happen. I think realistically, what Liverpool should do is wait for Nagelsmann. Wait for after the World Cup. See how Arne Slot does get on, and if the players don't play for him again, go after Julian Nagelsmann, bro. That's who Liverpool should realistically go for. That's who I think, honestly. Like, I want to know if you think I'm crazy for that, but I think Nagelsmann would be perfect for Liverpool. Given the players they do have, I think he would be perfect. Because I think they missed their chance on Alonso, bro. I think if they wanted to get Alonso, they should have sacked Arne Slot mid-season and grabbed him right as soon as Real Madrid and Alonso parted ways. That's when I think they should have pulled the trigger on Arne Slot, but it's too late for that. But Nagelsmann to Liverpool, I think is one to watch, in my opinion. But we'll see what happens. It's just a guess. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think it's a possibility. But I do appreciate everybody chiming in, especially you, Morrison. Really good conversation I had with you. I know our first conversation, it wasn't like the greatest because I was defending Enzo Maresca a little too much, but it was just because I feel like the identity they had was perfect for this current Chelsea team. But now that he's going to Man City, everything about Enzo Maresca has now been completely forgotten, and I'm focusing on what Xabi Alonso can actually do at this club. I just hope that they allow him to cook. Our ownership has zero ball knowledge. The way they dismiss the eye test is appalling. One had to learn from successful folks. When you rely on AI data, bro, to pick your lineups and like identify players, that's how you know that the club's recruitment is in the bin. You can use data to look at certain players, but if you're not looking at the eye test of certain players, like when you have a chance to go get a Victor Osimhen, but you're using data instead to go get Liam Delap, that tells you everything that you really need to know, honestly. But I'm gonna get out of here. I'm Jason, no filter Chelsea, bro. Drop a like, drop a sub, share the stream, drop your comments when this stream eventually does post onto my YouTube. It takes about 12 hours afterwards. Go ahead and post your grades on the Chelsea season and give me your honest opinions on what you're expecting in the summer transfer window, and also what your expectations are of Xabi Alonso and what he can actually do from his point of view to change the on-field performances. I'm not talking about the board because the board is a separate issue. We signed Pedro Neto and let go off Elise. I mean, that's what I'm saying, bro. You weren't trying to pay Elise the wages, and you signed Pedro Neto, who at Wolves was good, but at Chelsea, he's been anything but that. But I'm going to get out of here.